Hey guys, it's Lego with Lego Vids. I'm gonna be showing you the Diablo 3 beta patch 15 Barbarian skills in this video. So this is gonna be a skill overview of all the different skills that are available to the Barbarian class in the Diablo 3 beta during patch 15. This is one patch later than my previous skill videos. Blizzard got a patch out before I could finish these other ones up, but I don't believe the skills have changed too much for the Barbarian in particular. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at them. To start off, let's explain the Barbarian resource. The first thing that you need to know is that they run off a resource called Fury. By default, you just have up to 100 Fury. I must be wearing a piece of gear that is actually boosting my Fury up to 102 max. Yeah, so I'm wearing this weapon, so I have plus 2 max Fury, so that's why I'm at 102 here instead of 100. But when you start your Barbarian out, you'll be at 100 as your max Fury, and Fury is something that you need to generate. And so you actually have some abilities that are Fury generators. Some of those are actually attacks, and some of them are more utility-based abilities. And so that's how I've broken them down. You have two different sectors of Fury generators. You have the attacks, and you have utility, and then you have two sections of Fury spenders. You have your attacks, and you have your spenders. And then I kind of have this miscellaneous section too, where a couple skills just don't kind of really fit. And so we'll go ahead and walk through all of those different skills. And of course, there's the passives that you get to pick as well. So as you play your Barbarian, you'll be able to use your Fury generators to generate Fury, and as long as you actually hit something, whether it's an object or another enemy, you will be able to generate Fury with your Fury generators. If you are out of combat for a while, your Fury will slowly diminish, so it'll start to run out, but it really is not a big issue for Barbarian. I never really feel bad about running out of Fury, so let's go ahead and get started. First ability that we have is Bash. This is the very first ability that you'll get with your Barbarian. You start with this at level 1. You generate 6 Fury per attack, so every time you click that button or push the hotkey for it, you would be getting 6 Fury as long as you're actually hitting something again. Brutally smash an enemy for 150% weapon damage with a 20% chance to knock back. This is an okay ability. I don't mind it. It's a decent start. The damage on it, it's pretty good. And the chance to knock back, it's okay. I mean, I don't really care for knockbacks too much on melee classes, but it's alright. I guess I just don't care for the RNG aspect of it. But anyway, let's go ahead and check this out and see what it's like in combat. Next up, we have our first rune effect. It's for the ability called Bash, and the rune effect is called Clobber. You gain access to this rune at level 6, and the rune, instead of knockback, each hit has a 20% chance to stun the target for 3 seconds. This is actually pretty good. It's a great trade. I don't really care for knockbacks, as I said, but stuns are fantastic. So having the chance to stun versus the knockback and still 20% chance, still 150% damage, all buffs all around as far as I'm concerned. So good ability, good rune. It does change the way it looks just a little bit. And so let's go ahead and see what this is like in combat. Versus stunnable mobs, it's actually pretty strong, and I'm sure in PvP it'll have a place as well. So again, let's check this out. Next up, we have another rune effect for the ability Bash, and it is called Onslaught. You gain access to this rune at level 13, and it adds 2 reverberations that cause 22% weapon damage per strike, removes the chance for knockback. So this rune is kind of like, I don't really care for knockback, I just want Bash to do more damage. This is the way to do it. So you still get the 150%, and then you get 2 more reverberations that are going to do 22% each. And so you're going to end up at, what is that, 194? So not bad, 194% weapon damage. So I haven't really messed with this one too much. If you're just looking for straight damage on your Fury Generator, this is probably one of the best ones as far as single target goes, if you're not worried about any kind of secondary effects. So, not bad choice if you're just looking for more damage. Let's go ahead and check this out. Next up, we have the ability Cleave. This is going to be another Fury Generator that you're going to get. You learn this at level 3. It generates 5 Fury per attack, which is 1 less than Bash. Bash was 6. Cleave is going to be 5 per attack. You swing your weapon in a wide arc to deal 120% weapon damage to all enemies caught in the swing. This is a fantastic ability. I love Cleave. Diablo games have always been very AoE heavy as far as just running in and taking on a ton of monsters at the same time. Cleave is fantastic for that. So I love that it's free and it actually generates fury as well. So great ability. Let's go ahead and check this out in combat. Next we have a rune effect for Cleave, and it's called Rupture. You gain access to Rupture at level 9, and if you thought Cleave was awesome before, Rupture makes it incredible. Enemies slain by Cleave explode, causing 85% weapon damage to all other enemies within 8 yards. This rupture damage is ridiculous because for every monster that you kill, it explodes. And so if you kill 3 monsters, that's 3 exploding for 85% weapon damage each that explodes and hits everything else. Rupture is ridiculous. It's seriously ridiculous. So Cleave with Rupture, amazing. If you're going in and you're going to fight a whole ton of mobs, this is definitely a skill that you're going to want in your bar. Cleave plus the Rupture rune. So let's go ahead and check this out in combat. Next up, we have the last of our Fury Generator attacks, and this is actually the last one that you'll have access to in the game as a whole as well. You'll be able to rune these 3 different Fury Generator attacks that we've gone over, but as far as the actual Fury Generator attacks, the base skills, this is going to be all of them. You have 3. You have Bash, Cleave, and Frenzy. So here's Frenzy. You generate 3 Fury per attack. Oh, you learn Frenzy at level 11, by the way. So generate 3 Fury per attack, swing for 110% weapon damage. Frenzy attack speed increases by 15% with each swing. This effect can stack up to 5 times for a total bonus of 75% attack speed. So while it is only 3 Fury per attack, while Cleave was 5 and Bash was 6, you end up swinging really fast. And so your Fury generation versus single target enemy like a boss or something, this ends up being really strong. So I can't show you the actual speed increase here in the demo, but when we actually get to see this in combat, you'll be able to see the speed increase. So compare this speed to what you're about to see in the demo. Alright, let's take a look. Next up, we're going to move on to our Fury Generators that are utility skills more than actual base attack skills that you would spam forever. So you would use these as you need them. The first one that you run into is Ground Stomp. You learn this at level 4. You generate 15 Fury, and so these utility generators actually give you a pretty good chunk of Fury, but they have cooldowns on them. So again, Ground Stomp, 15 Fury, cooldown of 12 seconds. It's going to smash the ground, stunning all enemies within 12 yards for 4 seconds. And as you can see, I have a rune on this right now called Deafening Crash. You learn that rune at level 12. And enemies in the area have their movement speed slowed by 60% for 3 seconds after they recover from being stunned. So Ground Stomp is all about being able to control the enemy. If you're taking a lot of damage, the stun is fantastic. If you have enemies that run real fast and they kind of dart in on you and run away and you need to keep them in place, again, the stun is great. I personally like to pair this up with another ability called Rend, where I can stun everything around me and generate the Fury and then use that Fury on Rend. So I'll be able to show you that combination later on. But this is how Ground Stomp works. Let's go ahead and take a look at the graphic. And it doesn't really change too much when it's not runed. We'll wait just a second and take this rune off, and then you'll be able to see the non-Deafening Crash runed graphic as well. So this is what it looks like without the rune. Just a color change. So let's go ahead and see what this is like in combat. And I'm just going to show you what the runed ability is like, because it doesn't change from being not runed to being runed. The slow ability is nice. It's okay, I guess, because it gives you a little bit more control. But you know, maybe I'll run into another rune later on in the game that I like with Ground Stomp better. But Ground Stomp as an ability, fantastic. I like the control it gives. So let's check this out in combat. Next up, we have another Fury generator that is a utility skill, and it's called Leap. You learn Leap at level 8. Again, you generate 15 Fury, cooldown of just 10 seconds, leap into the air, dealing 85% weapon damage to all enemies within 8 yards of your destination, and slowing movement speed by 60% for 3 seconds. I love Leap. Seriously, I considered going Barbarian just for Leap. Leap is fantastic. It is so much fun. You can leap over obstacles. You can leap up and down ledges. Leap is a fun ability. Even if it did no damage at all, it would still be on my bar. So, let's see what this looks like. It's just a basic leap here, and you can leap, as I said, up and down ledges. You can leap over obstacles, and it is fantastic. Again, you can only generate Fury with this particular ability if you hit something. So whether it's an enemy or an actual destructible object, you can generate that 15 Fury. Otherwise, you're not going to generate any. As you can see, I'm still at 0. Same as with Ground Stomp. You know, if you don't hit anything with it, you don't get the Fury. You actually have to hit something. So whether a destructible object or an actual enemy, you'll be able to get the Fury off of it. So let's go ahead and see what Leap is like in action. I'll show you some jumping up and down things, and maybe even jumping over a gap or something like that. So let's check it out.
Your flesh is weak.
Next up, we have the last of the Fury Generator utility abilities that we're going to be going over in this video, and that is Ancient Spear. You learn this at level 9. Generates 15 Fury, cooldown of 10 seconds. Throw a spear and pull an enemy back to you, briefly slowing the target's movement by 60% and dealing 185% weapon damage. So the damage it does is okay, but I kind of put this in utility because of what it actually does. It has a cooldown as well, so it actually pulls an enemy to you. So for those annoying casters that you can't quite get to, where you need to pull them into maybe the group where you want to AoE or something like that, this would be a good ability to be able to use. It actually can reach pretty far, so pretty much any particular enemy that you see on the screen, you would be able to use this and pull them to you, and then continue to DPS them if they didn't die straight out from the 185% weapon damage. So let's go ahead and check this out and see what it's like in combat. Next, we're going to move on to our Fury Spender attacks. And so the first attack that we're going to go over is Hammer of the Ancients. You learn this at level 2. So you get this really early on. Costs 20 Fury. Call forth a massive hammer to smash enemies directly in front of you for 200% weapon damage. Hammer of the Ancients has a 5% increased critical hit chance. So let's go ahead and check this out. My Fury's running out pretty quick, so I'll be able to show you a couple. And so, as you can see, it's a hammer. As far as just burst damage, it's okay. It's still only 200%, which isn't much more than some of your Fury generators. So it's okay. That's as much as it really does for me. It's just being okay. It is a little cone effect in front of your character, but I haven't really cared for Hammer of the Ancients too much. But let's go ahead and see what it's like in combat. Some players really do like it, and so maybe you will. So throw it on your bar, test it out when you get it. Again, you get this at level 2. So let's see what this is like in combat.
More fury.
Next, we have the first rune effect that we have available for Hammer of the Ancients, and it's called Rolling Thunder. You gain access to this at level 7, and instead of the normal ability, this is going to create a shockwave that deals 155% weapon damage to all enemies within 22 yards in front of you. So this adds a different effect here. It adds a shockwave instead of just the normal hammer. So as you can see, the ability is green and the shockwave reaches pretty far. Again, it's okay. Still kind of torn on how much I really like it. It is only 155%. The reason I have such a hard time liking this ability is because I believe that the runed version of Cleave ends up being a lot better. And so with Cleave being a generator, which means it's basically free and I can use it forever, it makes me think, why would I ever want to use this particular ability? It just doesn't hit hard enough, in my opinion, compared to Cleave. So I don't know. You guys can throw it on your bar, see what you think about it. So again, you get this particular rune ability at level 7. Let's go ahead and check it out, see what it's like in combat.
More fury.
Next up, we have Rend, costs 20 Fury. A sweeping strike causes all nearby enemies to bleed for 210% weapon damage as physical over 3 seconds. I really do like Rend. I think the damage is great, and considering it's a 360 degree AoE, I think it is a great ability. So let's go ahead and check this out in combat.
You cannot stand before me.
Next up, we have the first rune ability for Rend. Let's get that set. It's actually called Ravage. You're going to learn Ravage at level 11. You get Rend at level 5. I don't think I said that before. You get Ravage at level 11, which is a rune effect, and increases the range of Rend to hit all enemies within 17 yards. So it's actually a pretty good range increase. So I like Rend by itself, but with this 17-yard increase, it's fantastic. One thing to note, if you want to break like breakable items like tombstones or barrels or something like that, Rend can do that, even though it's a bleed effect, and you're like, I don't know if an object can bleed or whatever. The game is set up so that you can still use Rend on objects. So even if it's like a barrel or a tombstone, you want to break it, or even if it's like some particular like pillar or something that summons enemies out, you can still use Rend, even though it's a bleed effect and doesn't really make sense for like a pillar to bleed. Blizzard has set it up so that you can still use Rend, so it doesn't make that ability obsolete for those sort of things. So Rend is one of my favorite abilities, and it is on my bar when I play my Barbarian. I do like it, especially with the Ravage effect. So let's check this out in combat. Next up, we have an ability called Seismic Slam. Let's go ahead and demo this before I run out of fury, and then I'll go over it. So as you can see, it's a pretty good ability, or it's a pretty large effect. It costs 30 fury, slam the ground and cause a wave of destruction that deals 155% weapon damage and knockback to targets in a 45-yard arc. So it pushes them back a little bit, 155% weapon damage, and it reaches pretty far out. Overall, the ability is a lot of fun to use. The damage isn't as high as Rend, and so it's kind of a trade-off. And the fact that it's only a cone effect, where Rend is like the full 360. But, you know, it's still a good ability. It has its uses, so you guys have to check this out in game and see how you feel about it. You learn Seismic Slam at level 12, so you do get it kind of early on in the game itself. In the beta, you don't get to use it for very long before you hit the level cap, but it's still a cool ability. Let's go ahead and check it out in combat and see what it's like. Alright, the last DPS ability that we're going to go over, and I've kind of put this in the miscellaneous category, I'm not really sure where to throw it at, is called Revenge. It doesn't cost any fury, it doesn't generate any fury, it is actually an ability, and you learn it at level 13. Revenge has a 15% chance to become active each time you are hit. Inflict 220% weapon damage to all nearby enemies, and you heal for 6% of your maximum life for each enemy hit. And so if you're taking on like a massive amount of enemies and they're all hitting you, this ability is going to be fantastic for not only doing damage but helping keep you alive. So I think this may end up being a really, really strong ability to use later on in the game when you're fighting up against a lot of monsters, or monsters that surround you quickly, or if you're going with like a tank barb kind of build. This will probably be a really good ability for helping boost your survivability because of the heal that it does. It's 6% max life for each enemy, and the 220% damage, which is instant to all enemies. That's not too shabby either. I haven't really used this much in game yet, but let's go ahead and check it out in combat and see what it's like. Finally, guys, let's go over the passives that the Barbarian has access to in the beta. You get two passives at level 10. You get Pound of Flesh and you get Ruthless. Pound of Flesh increases the chance of finding Health Globe by, I should probably say Health Globes, but Health Globe by 25%, and you gain 100% additional life from Health Globes. In the beta, this isn't really useful. Yeah, I don't run into spots where I really need the health and I just don't have it. But later on in the game, when you hit Nightmare, Hell, and maybe even later in the normal difficulty, especially Inferno, you might start to feel that, man, I really need health globes. My potions aren't enough. Then you might consider using this. Right now in beta, I haven't really got a lot of use out of it. Next up, we have Ruthless. Again, you learn this at level 10. Critical hit chance increased by 5%. Critical hit damage increased by 50%. And it says many skills and runes rely on critical hits to trigger their effects. So this is the one passive that I've been using in beta. We can only use one passive because the next slot doesn't unlock until 20. But this is the one that I've been using. It's just a straight up damage increase. Nothing too spectacular, but for damage, it's the way to go. Then finally, we have Nerves of Steel. Your armor is increased by 100% of your vitality. If you start to run into survivability issues, or especially if you're going with like a tank barb style, this is going to be the passive that you're going to want to go with. So it says your armor is increased by 100% of your vitality. I'll kind of show you what that does for me right now on my character. My gear is okay. I haven't maxed it out near as what some other people have. Just kind of whatever I found as I was leveling up. I haven't really done a lot to really boost them. A little bit of crafting here and there. So let's go ahead and check and see what my armor is right now. Surely there is an actual armor stat somewhere. Wow. Really? Oh, here it is. I'm blind. 205 armor right now, and it's going to give me 23.98% reduction from all damage from all enemies. So armor appears to work to reduce all damage. So I'm going to go from 205 armor, 23.98% reduction. And if I put that passive on, I'm going to jump to 246 armor. My reduction is going to be 27.46%. So this is obviously going to drastically vary based on the gear that you're wearing, and so just keep that in mind. But Nerves of Steel, if you start taking too much damage, you want to reduce the damage that you're taking, go ahead and toss it on and see how much it helps you out. If you're going again with a tank build, definitely going to be the way to go. So that's it for the Barbarian, guys. I hope you enjoyed this class overview. Just as a reminder, this is the Diablo 3 beta patch 15, and this has just been a class overview for the Barbarian. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the video. Sorry for the long delay on getting this video out in comparison to the previous videos. Hopefully I'll get the next two that need to be released out soon. And I've considered re-releasing the Witch Doctor video because patch 15 did rebalance a lot of the Witch Doctor spills. So I have to look at those, and potentially I'll release another Witch Doctor video. If you guys are interested in something like that, if you would like to see a new video for the Witch Doctor skills for patch 15, leave a comment, let me know. Otherwise, once I get the other two classes out, I still have Demon Hunter and Wizard to do. Once those two are out, I'll consider doing a Witch Doctor one if there's enough demand. So other than that, if there's any other Diablo 3 footage that you're interested in, let me know. Otherwise, thanks guys, it's been fun. Have a great night.